Hi class, I'm going to walk you through problem 6-44, which is similar to the problem assigned to you. And this is a situation where we have a parent corporation owning 100% of a subsidiary. So that should ring a bell with how we're going to treat liquidation of the subsidiary into the parent. And in this case, I want you to assume, and it might even tell you that here. Yeah, it does not. I want you to assume in this case that the subsidiary is solvent, okay? And we know that when a subsidiary is solvent and it's liquidating into a controlled, and it's a controlled subsidiary, i.e. it's 80% or more owned by another company, and in this situation it's owned 100% by parent corporation, then 332 is going to come into play, and 332 treats the liquidation as a non-taxable event. So having said that, let's go through this problem. What are the amount and character of subsidiaries' recognized gain or loss when it makes the liquidating distribution? So first of all, our choices are subsidiary either does or does not recognize the gain that's realized on the distribution to the parent. And we'll have to calculate the realized gain on distribution of the parent. But what do we know about 332? It tells us that the distribution is not the liquidation, the distribution of the property and liquidation of the subsidiary is not going to be recognized. So then we have to calculate what the realized gain is. So in this instance, we should probably grab the calculator. I did this a minute ago in my head, but maybe it's easier if we actually are doing it with a calculator. So we have to calculate the amount realized minus the basis in all the property distributed. So first of all, money has a basis and fair market value equal to each other, so we can just disregard that in the calculation of our realized gain, because it's going to be included both in the amount realized number and in the basis number. So we can just disregard that. It saves us a little bit of time. For the inventory, the fair market value is $200,000. So we've got 200,000, and I just got one too many zeros there. And we add to that the fair market value of the equipment, which is 150,000. So our total amount realized is 350,000, and we subtract from that the bases of the inventory and the equipment. The basis of the inventory is 125,000. And then we also subtract the basis of the equipment, which is 280,000 original cost basis minus accumulated depreciation of 160,000. So we end up with, and I know that's not right because I should probably just try to do this in my head. So first of all, we added up the total amount realized, which was 350. So let's just remember that. And then we have the inventory with a basis of 125. And then we add to that the adjusted basis of the equipment, which is 280 minus 160, or 120. Okay, so we have a $245,000 basis as compared to our amount realized of 350. So we actually have $105,000 gain. Maybe that's what I got in the first case. And we're not going to, that's our realized gain, but we're not going to recognize that, and that's per 332. Actually, I put 332 in my answer the first time, and it was wrong. And the reason why, when I looked it up, is because actually 337 guides us with regard to the realization or the recognition for subsidiary purposes. So it's 332 that guides us with regard to the parent. So now we're going to look at the parent, and we know that under 332, the parent does not recognize its realized gain either. And what is its realized gain? Well, it's giving up stock. It's deemed to have sold its stock in S in exchange for the fair market value of all of the property it receives from S. And the fair market value of everything it receives from S is 200,000 of inventory plus 150,000 of equipment plus money of 20,000. So that's 350 plus 20 is 370. And we subtract from that the basis of its stock in S, and its basis of stock in S is 175. So its realized gain is 195, and it's not going to recognize that, and that's per 332. And then our next requirement is to determine the parent's basis in the property it received. It's non-cash property that received. Its basis in the money is what? 20,000. But the basis in the inventory is going to be what? It's a carryover basis under 332. So remember, P just steps into the shoes of S with regard to all of its property that it receives, because it's just like moving the property over from one pocket of its pants to the other. So its basis in the inventory is going to be the same as S's basis in the inventory, and that's 125,000. And then the basis of the equipment is going to be the same as it was for S, which is 280 minus 160, or 120. And then what happens with our EMP, subsidiaries EMP balance and NOL? Because in the facts it says that S had an EMP balance, accumulated EMP of 150K, and an NOL carryover of 40K on the liquidation date. We know that under what section does that carry over? That's 381 if you look back to your slides at that lecture that I gave you. Everything, all of the attributes carry over. And then P's basis for the stock in S, what happens to that? Well, S isn't around anymore, and now P just owns all of the property that S owned, so the stock actually goes poof, it disappears. Okay, so I hope that helped you, and I'll talk to you soon.